I wanted to make a quick video going over the similarities and differences between the Shun Sora and the Victorinox Fibrox. Obviously, these are both entry-level knives, and I wanted to sort of go over exactly what would make one better than the other, or exactly why you would choose one versus the other, since a lot of people find themselves between these two knives when they're choosing an entry-level or a budget-conscious knife to add to their kitchen. Off the bat, let's talk about the similarities. The Shun Sora and the Victorinox Fibrox knife are both sharp, and they both can be used to cut things, and that's pretty much about it. The Victorinox Fibrox line is 15 degrees for their angle of the blade. Shun Sora is 16, which means that out of the box this is going to be a little bit sharper when you first start using it, but as we're about to discuss, that doesn't actually matter, because the Victorinox uses a very, very soft steel. Its hardness is only 55 to 56, while the Shun Sora uses VG10, which is like the gold standard of metals for knives, and its hardness is a 61. So essentially, the reason that matters is, as you're cutting with a knife, you're applying pressure, and the softer the metal is, the more likely it is to bend or to sort of get pushed down and lose its edge. And a harder metal is going to keep its edge much, much longer than a softer metal is. So by the time this thing is, let's say, somehow managed to get used as much as this one, and you've used them and used them and used them, this thing is going to be blisteringly dull very, very quickly, and this thing is going to be staying sharp. So that's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is this is a stamped knife. This is a handmade forged knife, which means it's going to be a stronger knife. This, its tang, is actually ending right about here, which means as you're using it, it has a little pivot point where it can break out of the handle, which is a little bit unsafe, I've always thought. The Shun Sora has a tang that is essentially a full tang. It's called a rabbit tang. It ends right here. But the end result is that since it ends all the way down there, there's never a time when you're risking this bending up and breaking out of the handle. At the same time, aside from having a forged and essentially a full tang versus a stamped not full tang, this is all just a piece of stainless steel, whereas the Shun Sora actually has on either side welded stainless steel covering the VG10, which does two things. Number one, you get this gorgeous design, but number two, it makes it extremely resilient to pitting, to staining, and to rust in a way that this thing can never be, because this has that extra layer of stainless steel wrapped around it. Finally, the Victorinox Fibrox knife has a lifetime warranty. The Shun Sora has a 10-year warranty, but, and this is the reason that I always suggest the Shun Sora compared to the Victorinox lines, the Shun Sora comes with free lifetime sharpening. And as you guys know, if you take your knives to a reputable sharpener, someone who does it by hand on a whetstone or something, it's going to cost you about $5 per inch to sharpen, which means an 8-inch knife like this is going to cost you $40 at a minimum to sharpen properly. And even then, you don't know if you're going to get a good knife back or if it's going to be one of those horror stories that we always read. So any money you save by getting a Victorinox versus the Shun Sora, the first time you sharpen it, which with this knife will need to be very quickly, that money's out the door. So from a cost-effective standpoint, this knife I think is better. On top of that, don't forget, this is forged, this is stamped, this has a full tang, this has no full tang, this is VG10, this is soft steel, this is wrapped in stainless steel, this is a single piece of steel. I mean, there are a bunch of reasons to choose the Shun Sora. So I'm going to put a link down to both of these below. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, as always, let me know. But otherwise, I will talk to you very soon.